This channel is not designed for entertainment or viral content. It exists for people who are actively healing, seeking clarity, or exploring the psychology behind their emotions and patterns. Every episode is carefully written and produced with emotional depth, reflection, and care. If you're here expecting casual commentary, high-energy hosts, surface-level discussions, flashy production, or entertainment-focused content, then we gently refer you to other channels offering just that. At DeepDive, we focus on quiet, deep, and intentional content to support those on a real mental health journey. If that's you, then welcome to our channel. You're in the right place.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. You know that feeling, right? That little buzz in your pocket maybe, or on your bedside table. Before your feet even hit the floor, your mind's already racing. Notifications, headlines, all those perfectly curated smiles on social media. And underneath it all, there's this low hum of like algorithmic anxiety. You check, you swipe, you scroll, hours just vanish. And you're left feeling not just tired, but weirdly wired, drained, informed maybe, but also strangely empty, connected to everything, yet deeply disconnected from yourself.
It's an incredibly common experience now. It really is. And it's quietly taking a pretty significant toll on us.
Absolutely. And if that resonates with you, you are definitely not alone. We're seeing this quiet but really powerful movement unfolding right now in 2025. People are intentionally stepping offline, not really to escape the world, but almost paradoxically to actually come back to it. And this isn't just another fleeting trend, It feels much more fundamental, like a return to sanity almost, a lifeline for self-preservation amidst all this relentless, non-stop stimulation. So our mission in this deep dive is to unpack why this isn't just about ditching devices. It's about addressing a profound neurological need. We're going to explore the science behind it and, crucially, the practical steps you can actually take to reclaim your own sense of calm and clarity.
It really is a shift that once you experience it, becomes kind of undeniable.
Okay, so let's unpack this right from the start. Why? Why does this constant digital hum leave us feeling so incredibly depleted? It genuinely feels like we're always on, doesn't it?
Well, our human nervous system, quite frankly, just wasn't built for the sheer volume of information we're trying to process every single day. I mean, think about it. Our ancestors might have encountered, maybe in their entire lifetime, the amount of information we now consume before breakfast. It's staggering. We're just bombarded, breaking news from everywhere, emotional updates from hundreds of contacts, ads designed specifically to trigger our insecurities, and this endless stream of pings, likes, notifications. It's all dopamine driven. Our brains, you see, were designed for focused attention, for slow, nuanced relational bonding. Now we're forcing them to multitask emotional reactions at breakneck speed.
And what's the actual cost of that? Physiologically, I mean, on our bodies and minds. Because it feels like more than just feeling tired.
Oh, it absolutely is. The consequences are pretty profound. Your cortisol, that's your main stress hormone, it stays elevated, almost constantly for many people. Your attention span, well, think of it like a muscle that never gets rested. It starts to shrink dramatically. And your emotional resilience, your ability to bounce back from stress, it just erodes over time. Some leading researchers are even suggesting that the very pace of it all and the disconnection fostered by our digital world is in itself a form of collective trauma. It keeps us in this low-grade, constant state of alert or threat.
That makes a lot of sense. That low-grade threat feeling. Does any of this resonate with you listening? As we keep digging into this, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember to subscribe and maybe leave us a comment if this deep dive is sparking some aha moments for you.
Yeah, it's something a lot of people feel but maybe haven't put words to.
Okay, building on that idea of constant stimulation, what about the hidden chemical cost? All that scrolling, all that swiping, it feels kind of good in the moment, but there's a real downside, isn't there?
There absolutely is, a big one. Our devices have, effectively hijacked our brain's ancient reward system. This system is powered by dopamine, a really powerful neurotransmitter. It's essential for motivation, focus, pleasure. But here's the problem. Every notification, every new thing to look at on your feed, it delivers a micro hit, a tiny instant reward. And your brain, being smart but also adaptable, quickly builds a tolerance to this. So it starts needing more and more stimulation, more frequent hits, just to feel, normal.
This escalating demand leads to something we're now calling dopamine fatigue.
Dopamine fatigue. Wow, that sounds exhausting just hearing it. What does that actually feel like day to day? Well, it often shows up as this pervasive restlessness, like an inability to just enjoy quieter, boring moments without immediately reaching for a screen. You might notice a big drop in motivation for real-life tasks, things that don't offer that immediate payback. It's a strange paradox. You feel too wired to actually rest properly, but at the same time, you're too depleted to fully engage with anything meaningful. This is what we call nervous system dysregulation. Your body's internal alarm system is kind of stuck in the on position, always seeking input, but never really settling or feeling satisfied.
Okay, so given these really profound effects on our nervous system, makes you wonder,
Yeah.
how does all this hyperconnectivity impact our most basic human desire? For connection. Social media promises this huge community, right? But is it actually delivering?
That's a great question. And what's fascinating is how social media mimics community, but often delivers something quite different. We're constantly seeing these filtered, idealized lives, which for many people just creates feelings of shame or inadequacy, comparison, basically. We get exposed to distressing news, trauma content that leads to vicarious stress. The sheer volume of opinions causes cognitive overload. And online arguments. They frequently trigger a very real fight-or-flight response in our bodies. So instead of what we actually need, which is co-regulation, that feeling of being soothed by another safe, present human, we get hit with microstressors every few minutes.
So it's actively disrupting our natural calming mechanisms. It's working against us in a way. No wonder anxiety feels so rampant.
Precisely. And what's particularly important to understand is that individuals who've experienced developmental trauma, they're especially vulnerable in this environment. For them, social media can feel like a constant battleground. Potential rejection, this immense pressure for perfectionism, sensory input that just amplifies existing sensitivities. It's often the opposite of the genuine support they need.
It's clear our brains are struggling. Definitely. But what's also kind of exciting is that our brains are incredibly resilient too, right? We're seeing this powerful counter movement brewing. This isn't just about escaping anymore, is it? It feels like a deeper reevaluation of how people are thinking about their mental health.
You're absolutely right. We're seeing going offline evolve. It used to be seen as this niche, almost radical thing to do. Now it's becoming recognized as a neurological necessity. In 2025, you can really see the trend. Dumb phones are making a comeback just for calls and texts. You see high-profile influencers intentionally going dark, taking weeks off their platforms. Workplaces are trying out no Zoom days. People are consciously ditching social media altogether. Even physical spaces are adapting tech-free zones in cafes, mindfulness cafes popping up. This isn't just nostalgia, It's a clear collective realization that taking breaks isn't just an option anymore. It's vital for taking back control of our attention, our energy, our lives.
What's truly fascinating here is the science behind this reset. What's actually happening in our brains when we manage to step away from all that digital noise?
The brain is remarkably adaptable. It really is capable of deep restoration. And within surprisingly short time, sometimes just 24 to 72 hours of being consistently offline, you start seeing real measurable changes in brain chemistry. Your cortisol levels start to lower more consistently. Your heart rate variability, which is a great measure of how flexible and resilient your nervous system is, that improves significantly. And crucially, your dopamine receptors, the ones we talked about getting overwhelmed, they begin to reset and recalibrate.
So it's literally like hitting a reset button, letting your internal reward system resensitize itself.
Exactly. Spot on. And one of the most profound changes is the re-engagement of what's called your default mode network, or DMN. Think of it as your brain's background processor. It's vital for consolidating memories, processing your day, self-reflection, even those creative aha moments. When you're constantly bombarded with external input, the DMN struggles to activate properly. But when you step away, disconnect. It comes back online. It allows for deeper reflection, creativity, self-awareness. Even just short breaks from tech show measurable improvements in sleep quality, reduced anxiety, boosts in creativity, and a deeper emotional presence. It really is like a detox for the reward system. It lets you feel pleasure again from simple, everyday things that maybe felt dulled before.
This brings up such an important point, especially for listeners who might have experienced trauma. How does all this constant digital input affect their healing journey? It seems like it could be a pretty big obstacle.
It absolutely can be, yeah. For trauma survivors, digital overwhelm can unfortunately mimic or even reinforce existing patterns of dysregulation. The constant stream of information can foster hypervigilance, that feeling of constantly scanning for threats, even when you're safe. It's similar to how you might feel in a genuinely stressful environment. Scrolling, too, can become a form of dissociation, a way the mind kind of checks out or numbs out to escape difficult feelings or reality. And then there's the content itself. News, messages, online conflicts, they can easily trigger anxiety spikes or even inadvertently re-trigger past traumas without any warning or consent.
So going offline isn't just about feeling a bit better day to day for survivors. It's really about creating an environment that actually supports healing.
Exactly. That's the key. When survivors intentionally create offline space, it helps them reconnect to their bodies, to their physical presence, which is absolutely fundamental for healing. It allows them to cultivate emotional safety in their immediate surroundings, to regain attentional control, which is huge, the ability to direct your own focus, and to rebuild trust in their own inner rhythms, their own pace. The core principle here is really vital. Healing requires stillness. And stillness in our hyper-connected world fundamentally requires boundaries, especially around technology.
Okay, so how can you, listening right now, tell if your nervous system might be signaling it's time for a break? What are some of those concrete signs that suggest you might be heading towards digital overwhelm?
Right. And it's not about judging yourself at all. It's just about observing with curiosity, maybe some compassion. You might notice yourself reaching for your phone every few minutes, maybe without even consciously deciding to. Or perhaps you feel emptier, not more connected after a long scrolling session. That's a big one. Another common sign is waking up and immediately checking notifications before you even check in with how your body feels or what you need. Or maybe you just can't remember the last time you felt truly bored or truly still or just present without needing some kind of external input. You might also feel a surge of anxiety if you can't respond to messages right away. Or maybe you find yourself using screens to actively avoid difficult emotions or just numb out. These aren't signs of weakness, please remember that. They are clear signals from your nervous system saying, I'm exhausted.
That's really helpful framing. But for many people, the idea of actually going offline can feel incredibly daunting, maybe even unsafe in a world that seems to expect constant connectivity. So how can we start small? With a gentle, maybe trauma-informed approach that doesn't feel like ripping off a Band-Aid?
Yeah, that's crucial. Starting small and building gradually is absolutely the way to go. We often suggest what we call micro-disconnection, tiny steps, like try putting your phone in another room for just 10 minutes, see how that feels. Or use airplane mode for the first 30 minutes every morning. Just resist diving straight into emails or social media. Commit to one short walk each day without any device. Just you and your surroundings. Turn off all non-essential notifications. You'll probably be surprised how many you don't actually miss. And a simple but powerful one, no phones during meals. Even just consistently doing that can really shift things.
Those sound genuinely achievable. Okay, and what about replacing that urge to scroll? Because that habit loop can be so strong, right?
Yes, exactly. That's where buffer rituals come in handy. These are activities you intentionally choose to do instead of reflexively grabbing your phone. Maybe try journaling for a few minutes, or have your morning tea or coffee in complete silence, just noticing it. Simply watching a candle flicker can be surprisingly calming, or engaging in simple, tactile things like coloring, sketching, knitting. Even just practicing mindful breathing, maybe with a hand on your chest for a couple of minutes, can be transformative. These rituals help rebuild that muscle of presence, but gently. They remind your nervous system how to be still without forcing it into a silence that might feel too intense at first.
That makes sense. Gentle reentry. And for those who feel ready, what about simplifying the tech itself? Is that helpful?
It can be, yes. Consider switching to dumb tech for certain things. Maybe that means getting a basic phone just for calls and texts, using an old-fashioned alarm clock instead of your phone alarm, reading physical, printed books instead of always on a screen, listening to music from a speaker, not your phone app. Just reducing the number of smart devices right around you can remove a lot of temptation and triggers. And finally, create really clear tech-free zones or hours. The bedroom is a big one. Try making it a phone-free zone, maybe the bathroom too. Institute offline hours after dinner, perhaps. And consider having a physical box or drawer where devices actually go during these times. Boundaries work best when they're visible, embodied.
It really drives home that this isn't about restriction, is it? It's all about what we actually reclaim when we choose to step away from the noise.
Precisely. That's the heart of it. Going offline isn't about deprivation, it's about profound reclamation. You regain precious time, time for slowness, for deep reflection, for the kind of genuine creativity that often gets suffocated by constant input. You start to find clarity about your own needs, your own values, things that often get drowned out in the digital noise. You experience a deep, soothing peace settling into your nervous system, allowing it to truly rest and restore itself. You gain a deeper, undistracted presence with with the people you care about. And maybe most importantly, you regain real autonomy over your own attention and your own energy. You decide where it goes.
And what does that rediscovery feel like, that reconnection to yourself?
It's like remembering what it feels like to actually hear your own thoughts clearly again, without interruption. It's looking out a window and feeling genuine wonder, not just scrolling past something similar online. It's waking up to stillness instead of an immediate digital onslaught. It's creating something, anything, without that constant pressure of comparison lurking in the background. Going offline reconnects you to that rich inner world that technology often unintentionally drowns out. It's like clearing the static so you can finally hear your own signal again.
That's beautifully put. We do get questions about this topic quite often from listeners, so let's maybe tackle a few common ones that people might be wondering about right now. First up, what exactly is a digital detox, technically speaking?
Sure. At its core, a digital detox is simply an intentional period where you consciously reduce or maybe even temporarily eliminate your use of electronic devices, particularly smartphones, social media, constant notifications. The explicit goal is to give your brain and body a reset and re-engage more fully with the real physical world around you.
Okay, and how long does someone need to go offline for it to actually help? Do they have to be a full week-long retreat, or can smaller steps really make a difference?
You definitely don't need a week-long retreat to start feeling benefits. Not at all. Even short, consistent periods, say 30 minutes to a few hours each day, can be incredibly beneficial for regulating your system. Of course, a whole weekend offline, or maybe even a week-long break if you can manage it, that offers deeper nervous system regulation, a more profound reset. But the key is really to start with what feels doable for you right now and build from there. Consistency with small breaks is often way more impactful than infrequent, really extreme ones.
That's reassuring. Now, for someone trying this, is it common to feel worse before you feel better? I imagine disconnecting might initially feel quite strange or uncomfortable.
Yes, it's quite possible and actually pretty common. It's good to be prepared for that. Many people experience a phase that feels a bit like dopamine withdrawal. It can show up as restlessness, maybe intense boredom, irritability, or even that feeling of missing out, FOMO. It's really crucial to understand these feelings aren't signs that you're failing or that it isn't working. They're actually signs that your reward system is recalibrating. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's ultimately a positive sign of change and healing taking place.
Okay, good to know. And for those of us with anxious minds, what are some good offline alternatives to reach for instead of a screen? Because the screen often feels like the default coping mechanism, doesn't it?
It does. The goal is to shift from that kind of mind-numbing consumption towards more mindful engagement. Focus on activities that foster presence, not performance. Things like journaling your thoughts, taking a walk, especially in nature if possible, drawing or just doodling without judgment, playing music, gardening, gentle stretching, or even just simply allowing yourself to stare out a window and let your mind wander. The aim is just to bring your attention gently back to the present moment without the pressure of needing to achieve something or respond to something external.
Right, so it's clearly not about being completely anti-tech then. Is it okay to use some tech mindfully?
Absolutely, yes. This whole movement isn't about total abstinence unless that feels right for an individual. It's really about conscious use. The key question to keep asking yourself is, am I using this technology in a way that genuinely serves me, my goals, my well-being, or is this tech subtly starting to use me? If you're using it to connect authentically, to learn deeply, or create something meaningful and it feels empowering and intentional, then it absolutely fits within a mindful approach.
Okay. And finally, a really important one, I think, for many of our listeners. Can someone truly heal from trauma while staying online pretty much all day?
That's a tough one, but honestly, it's incredibly difficult. I would lean towards saying it's nearly impossible to achieve deep, lasting trauma healing while maintaining constant digital input. Healing requires significant space. It requires stillness. It requires emotional presence, being able to feel what you feel safely. These are conditions that are fundamentally disrupted by constant digital stimulation, by the external demands that come with being always online. Those offline moments, they aren't just helpful extras, they are essential. Essential for integrating healing experiences, for allowing the nervous system the time and quiet it needs to truly repair itself. Without those dedicated breaks for internal processing, the healing journey often feels much, much harder and frequently gets stalled.
Wow. Okay, so to sort of bring this all together, the future of our mental health, it sounds like it's actually quite quiet, slow, and often offline. The true antidote to this constant overstimulation isn't going to be another app or some new digital hack, is it? It's simply less noise.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you just weren't designed to process global grief before breakfast. You weren't designed to react to 100 messages before lunch. You were made to breathe, to pause, to feel, to move at the pace of a nervous system that naturally whispers, it doesn't shout. That's your inherent rhythm. It's still there, waiting for you to return to it.
And in that return, you might just find the clarity, the calm, and perhaps the genuine connection you've been scrolling for all along. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. If this conversation resonated with you, please do subscribe and maybe share it with someone who you think might benefit. We look forward to diving deeper with you next time.